Yeah, it was. It
It's
kind
a
of
little
felt. I
painful.
was really busting towards the end. I was like, "Oh fuck, gotta end this, bro. Gotta take a piss."
I felt myself like even zoning out. I mean, it's rude while while people are talking, but I could just literally feel my eyes closing. I was like, yeah, we need to really
Yeah,
reduce the
yeah.
time
But by
though.
that time, it would have been like what 1 a.m. for you or something.
Fuck it, yeah, something like that. It was like 1 or 2 a.m. Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
also that was the day. It was the 27th. That was the day that the clocks went forward. So I literally it like stopped at 1 a.m. and then it instantly jumped like it was like 2:17. I was like, what the fuck? We literally time
Yeah,
traveled, bro.
time zones, bro.
Right, yeah. All right,
All
homies.
right.
Let's get it started. We are live. So let's roll this. Let's kick this off.
Yeah. G'day, everyone. Today we're gonna start our first topic on what self-improvement is to us. So, SK,
Hmm.
what is self-improvement to you?
Self-improvement. Well, in short, self-improvement is a way of life. I think self-improvement is the way that one conducts themselves to separate from their current state of being in order to elevate to their projected um, like outcome or motivation or goal, whatever it is. For example, the classic one is the physical, right? The fitness side of things. Take for example your favorite you like fitness YouTube influencer like Jeff Nippard or I don't know like Chris Harrier or someone like that, and you can see that
Jeff
they're
Nichols.
yeah Chief Jeff. They've got a phenomenal physique. They're strong. They've got good muscle insertions X, Y, and Z. They can lift heavy. They can whatever their expertise is, whatever the field is that they currently operate in. But you don't exactly look like that. Well, then putting the work in towards achieving that goal would be to get yourself into the gym. You're making progress. You are self improving, right? And for me, the reason why I say it's a lifestyle is because you sure like you can touch on aspects of self improvement and just do it like, off and on, but you will get a much higher return of investment if you are consistent with it. So that actually leads to a second point. I think self improvement is consistency because you only improve for as long as you are active. And for you to be active, well, then you just got to put the work in. Just like a certain someone will say, you do that hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. You know,
Who
we
says that? I don't know.
I don't know, some guy on YouTube he calls himself like a cult
Yeah.
leader or something. Bit weird, not gonna lie.
Oh, sounds a bit crazy. Yeah.
A little bit crazy, yeah.
Damn,
He's
we're
got
in a
like this whole
cult.
movement. Yeah, he's got like a whole cult full of guys and something like that. And yeah, weird because I checked my I checked my subscribers and I saw that my sub count shot up, and I was getting inboxes saying that hey guys, this dude called Hamza,
Never heard
he
of him.
mentioned you. Yeah, me neither. I don't know. It's just like some brown guy on the internet just like talking about being 1% better than you were yesterday or something like that. And I was like, yeah, yeah,
Sounds like
exactly.
a cool guy.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess so. I was just like, well,
Yeah,
duh,
maybe we should watch his videos.
maybe, but I mean, but yeah, that in essence is my take on what self improvement is. How about yours?
So I quite like that idea that self-improvement is a lifestyle. It's a journey. It's not just like, I have now self-improved. The end. I can stop improving myself now. I like that. I like that it is a journey because there's no, as I see it, just like you, there's no end goal. You don't become 100% perfect and then say, yep, the end. Because everyone's idea of perfect is going to be different. My ideal physique might not be your ideal physique. My ideal body type, body shape might not be yours. My idea of leadership, right? We just had a leadership lecture just now, might not be perfectly matching with yours.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Everyone has their own idea of self improvement. It's in the name self improvement. It's improving yourself, improving whether it's improving your knowledge or your status or your character or your physique or your confidence or any aspect. That's all self improvement to me. And I don't like it when people shove their idea of self improvement down your throat. If they make it a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like it's a
Like a
staple.
definition. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like a definition when they say self improvement is this, self improvement is not that. And then if you're not doing what I'm doing, then you're not self improving. That's a bit too black and white for me because everyone comes from everyone's background story is different. We kind of touched upon this last week, but I went into self improvement, so to speak, not because I was searching for self improvement, but rather I was just searching for a way to stop being bullied. How
right.
can I learn about people's psychology, how people interact with one another in a way that it would stop them from bullying me and it would make me a stronger and a better person, a more confident person? That's what how it all started for me. I wasn't actively, how do I improve myself? If anything, it was more like, how do I get people to like me? And then
Mm,
that naturally led itself into self improvement because self improvement, as a broad category, as a broad umbrella statement, or sorry, an umbrella term, covers stuff like that. How to become more confident, how to be, stuff like how to be a leader.
agreed.
There's this one, mm, there's this great quote from, fuck, I forgot who it was. If I remember it, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, no, no stress. Happens to the best of us, bro.
Yeah. So really, that's my. As long as you are a bit better than the person you were yesterday, in my eyes, you have improved yourself. Now, better is subjective for the most part. For example, if I prefer to be, if my ideal physique is 700 pounds, super duper obese, and that's in my eyes the ideal physique, you might not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like. Then for me, that is improving myself, even though for 99.9% of the people in the world, they would be thinking, no, you're not improving yourself, you're getting obese. Fair point. To them, that would not be self improvement. But for me, if that is actually one of my goals, for it's not. But for whatever reason, if getting to 700 pounds is one of my goals, then for me, that's self improvement. I know that that can be quite a controversial take for a lot of people. It's like, no, 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 no. You have to be 5% body fat. You have to be 200 pounds of lean muscle. You have to be 6'6". You have to be this. You have to be that. Otherwise, you are not the perfect man. You're not Giga Chad. You're not Adonis. It's like, well, are
Well,
you there?
well, exactly. What is Adonis, or what is Giga Chad at the end of the day? Other than
Hmm.
the visual representation we've seen. I just want to say quickly, imagine being 700 pounds, right? Of just like going on a
Yeah, it's a bit
full
cooked.
on, bro, like an insane bulk. That's literally like the mother of all bulks. That is literally like the final boss of a bulk cycle, right? And then when you go to the cut phase, holy shit, you're going to be like 650 pounds of just lean meat. Just pure like visceral like carnage on legs, just going absolutely mad. But I mean, yeah, that is that is insane, first of all. But again, yeah, very well put. Everybody has their own like vision of what self-improvement is. Like most, I wouldn't say most people, but like a lot of people don't think that, being like some super jacked, like hulky, like just big bodybuilder or athletic dude is like their goal. I know plenty of people who don't give a damn about fitness. They keep themselves fit, but they don't, want to like physically morph their body into something that's quite like substantially different to the current state that they're in. Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe perhaps they want to just lose a little bit of weight, or just keep the heart healthy. Essentially, that's that's their goal, right? So
Yeah.
you kind of like answered my the next question that I had here, which was what got you into self improvement? Because everybody has a reason, right? Everybody's got like a catalyst. It's like the it's almost like every every main character and like their own like anime or whatever like story arc, you know, like this I call it the superhero complex. Every superhero, have you noticed, has a reason why they are who they are. Like Batman,
It makes a good background story. Without a background
100%.
story, it's just a boring guy.
Exactly. You know, like Bruce Wayne became the Batman after his parents were killed in cold blood in front of him, right?
Mm,
As an example. So the first like step zero to self improvement isn't about just tapping into the okay, let's get fit, let's go get like mentally resilient and emotionally, you know, impenetrable, and let's just be like this spiritual like fortress on legs. You need to understand why you're stepping into this new realm of life. You need to understand what it is about this journey that you want to, you know, embark on. And for myself, it's actually quite similar to yours. So I was also bullied when I was younger, right? I was I remember this very clearly. I was in high school, and I remember like, one of my peer groups would laugh at me every time I told them about my, you know, my dream was to join the military since the time I was a little boy, right? And they would say things like, "Yo, don't be silly. You know, you're just like this skinny brown kid. You need to be big and strong in order to be in the military. Like you'll die within seconds. You won't even make it in." And you can tell that shit stuck with me because I'm 28 years old right now and I'm still talking about it. I'm still, I can still like, I still relive that event. It doesn't affect me the same way that it did before, but that was when, you know, my journey more or less started to, you know, it laid the foundations. It laid the foundations for me to understand why I need to build myself up. So from the age of like 16, you know, I was going on 3 mile runs. I was constantly like training in the gym, pushing
mm.
myself to meet the requirements for the fitness tests for the military. Then I
And to
joined the
prove the
military.
haters wrong.
Exactly. Like a big fuck you to everybody who ever doubted me. And so that was my why. Now, it may or may not be, you know, the quote unquote ethical or correct way to go about things, but this is another thing. Similar to how there's no perfect way to live your life when it comes to self-improvement, and one man's idea of, you know, his self-improvement is different to the next man's. There's also no correct reasoning behind it. So long as you make peace with yourself, that's all that matters. So I think further to also what's been covered, I think self improvement is achieving inner peace. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I actually like that. With everyone's, well, a lot of people are really hung up on having a so-called pure motive. It's like, oh, what's your reason for self-improvement? Oh, I
Mm.
want to make the world a better place. I want to end uh, world poverty. I want to make sure there's world peace and fancy, colorful, rainbow, everyone happy, unicorn, things like that.
Mm.
But the reality of it is usually, not always, but usually we're driven by so-called impure motives, things that on the surface, or even deep down, actually, they're not very noble, so to speak. Just like how, we want to prove the haters wrong, or actually, if we're honest, for most people, how they first get into self-improvement is they search, how do I get chicks? How do I get girls? Oh, be
Yeah,
a better person. How do I be a better
that's like
person? How do I be more
90%.
confident? Yeah, exactly. On more than 90%, I reckon.
Yeah.
For guys, I'd venture to say 95, 98% of people are like that.
Yeah.
They get into this so-called self-improvement because they want to get girls. Like for
Very
me,
quickly,
I mentioned, yeah,
sorry, but let's just put a quick pin in that. Everybody who's currently listening in and in the chat, comment down below what got you into self improvement and be brutally honest. I'm willing to hedge my bets. At least 80% are going to say girls. Sorry, Spear.
grills.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually,
Yep.
speaking of being honest, I want to rewind a little bit. When we were talking about our own definitions of self improvement,
Yeah.
it's also very important to be honest with yourself. What do I mean by that? In my example of the 700-pound person, do they have an actual reason, true to themselves, of why they want to reach 700 pounds? Or is it that if they look deep down inside, they just can't be bothered losing the weight? Maybe they're already at 650 pounds. They're like, I might as well. I'll just say my goal is 700 because
Yeah.
it makes me feel better about myself. When you're on this self improvement journey, part of it, a big, big part of it, is being able to be mindful and be aware of your own bullshit, the own bullshit that your ego feeds itself to protect itself. You don't say, like for example, if I don't want to do something. But actually, let's dive into the thing that everyone asks. Looks important, and then people will get hung up on, looks are really important, bro. But like, if I'm not 6'6", if I'm not tall and white, if I'm not this, if I'm not that, then I have no chance, and my life is ruined. I have to get surgery. I have to get injections.
Oh yeah.
No, not really. When you put it like that, you are giving up control. When you put it like that, you are saying, no, I don't have any control over my life and I don't want to put in the work. So I'll just find excuses so that I have something to blame. I can protect my own ego. It's not my fault that I can't get girls. It's not my fault. It's because I had shitty genetics. It's my parents' fault for having me.
Yeah.
That's a very
Classics.
defeatist way of looking at it. I'm not saying looks aren't important. Yeah, in a vacuum, being taller, generally speaking, is better. Having bigger muscles is generally better. Having a deeper voice is generally better. But they're not, they're too limiting. We spoke about this before, limiting beliefs.
Yes, we did.
It's too limiting. It's saying, no, I have no control over this. My life is in shambles because I don't have the perfect combination of, height, voice, that kind of thing. So you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Not maybe not right away, especially for the newbies here. It's just getting into self improvement. There's layers of protection around the ego, kind of like an onion. You'll say, "Oh yeah, bro, I want to get fit. I'm honest with myself. I want to get fit. I want to get girls. Yeah, I'm being honest with myself." Okay, that's the first layer of the onion. But now dig a little deeper. Why do you want to get girls? What's stopping you from getting girls? Why
Boom.
aren't you confident? Why
That's
this? Why that?
yep.
Layers of the onion.
All comes back down to why. Ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Why is it? And you know, just very quickly on that, I want to share a little recent anecdotal story. So remember, I told you in the accountability tower about the girl that I saw in the gym.
Mm.
Well, now I'm talking to said girl in the gym, and actually turns out that we have quite a few things in common. It's still very early days. It's literally like 72 hours of knowing each other, but we already covered. Oddly enough, this is such a surreal moment for me, right? In the gym, we had a deep conversation about our families and what we like to get into. And I just dial it back to when I first saw her a couple weeks ago. And just by looking at her, like the former state of my mind was, I don't, like, I have no idea. I think she might just be cold because she just walks around like she's in her own world and she just doesn't give a damn or whatever. And then I asked myself, well, why am I thinking like this? Because have I actually spoken to her? No, I don't know her. And then I realized, well, it's because I feel almost intimidated by like her attractiveness. So that's what's stopping me. And then I asked myself, why am I feeling intimidated by her attractiveness? What about my ability makes me feel like I'm undeserving? And I just went deeper and deeper until I got to the root of that problem. And it was literally just something so simple, yet, it becomes like incredibly magnetized. Is that the right word? It's like it just gets blown way out of proportion, which was I was afraid of looking silly if I got rejected. And
Absolutely, bro. I knew you were going there.
yeah, it was
Absolutely.
the fear of rejection. And
Yeah, the fear of hurting our own egos.
that's
Because
it.
if you had if that hottie with a body was not so hottie and
Mm,
maybe didn't have such a nice body, you wouldn't really care. You'll be like, "Yeah,
wouldn't
whatever. I'll
give
just
a
go talk to
shit.
her."
Exactly.
Exactly.
Wouldn't give a
Because now,
damn.
but all of a sudden, you've become very attached. You've become very invested in the outcome of your interaction. That's
Right.
when your mind starts spinning and just going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What if she doesn't like me? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that?" But if it's just some like other bro in the gym, right? Because I want to talk about this for a quick second. Women are people too. I know,
Yep.
really surprising, right?
Fucking wait. Repeat that once more, Spear. You say women are what? People.
Women are people, just like you and me.
No, that incorrect. No, not possible. Not possible. Women cannot be like people because they are so mysterious. They're so, elusive. I just yeah, bro.
The unicorns, they don't poop, they don't fart.
I
They
can't
are
keep a
perfect
straight
in every
face.
single way.
100 100% women are people too. And once I realized that, do you know how easy it was for me to just go and talk to her? And
Mm,
like not just her, just talk to other girls too. But the thing is, it's not even about and then this was the other thing. You hit the nail on the head. I became so conscious of being outcome dependent that it was actually stifling my like any potential to just initiate. And another thing I did think on and reflected on was people want people to talk to them. They're
oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
just like I was thinking, but what if they don't like me? What if they think I'm a weirdo? Well then I ask this, let's flip it on the head. What if they like you? What if they actually think that you're brave? What if they accept you? What if she accepts you? And once that became my mentality, it became easy to talk to people. So much to the point where we were actually talking the other day, and one of one of the other gym bros came up to me and said, "Hey man, what's going on? Didn't notice that you were in here." I was like, "Yeah, I literally just turned up." We had like a brief discussion. He could see that I was talking to her. Moved on, and she said, "Wow, you're just such a social butterfly, aren't you?" And it got to the point where I was like, "Damn, I've got this girl complimenting me now. I haven't been the
Mm,
one dishing out the compliments, right? So if we're even talking about the whole adhering to frame, etc., it was simply by changing my mindset, which allowed me to, harness this potential that so many people think is like a superpower. When the reality is, I'm just a dude who just decided to take the first step and said, "Screw you, ego. I'm gonna go and do it anyways." This is literally
yeah,
what
action begets action. The more action you
exactly
take, the easier taking more action becomes. Just
100%.
like you know, back in uni. Um, so in high school, I was very non-social, very asocial. I wanted to avoid all interactions because the mindset I had, the mentality I had was every interaction I have ends up in me being bullied. Because up to then, it was true. And then to make a long story short, when I moved to uni, I changed that mindset because everyone's trying to be more adult in uni. I've told you the story before. Everyone's trying to be more adult in uni, and no one just goes around bullying people for the sake of that. So
Yeah,
very slowly, I've changed my mindset to hold on, talking to people ain't so bad. Talking to people isn't going to get me all mashed up emotionally. So I just started talking to people. And then guess what? Everyone actually has that little inner Jeffrey that says that same thing to them.
hmm,
Oh, what if I get bullied? Oh, what if it doesn't go well? What if my ego is damaged?
God
And they
forbid.
never take that first step. They
God forbid.
never put themselves out there. They never. do the things that you and I do, which is just very simple, right? If you put it down on paper, what did we do? We opened our mouths and we introduced ourselves. That's literally it. And then by repeating that process, I go to this group. I say, hey, how you doing? Make friends there. Go to the next group. Go to my next class. Go to whatever. And basically, by the end of the first year of me starting to do that, no joke. Every day I went to uni. That's college for you Americans. Every day I went to uni, I had someone wave to me and make small talk with me because I
Ah,
had extended the olive branch and made small talk with them first. So that when I'm walking to class, in between classes, anyone that I'm walking with, they would think just like you, all right? They would think I'm some kind of social butterfly because no matter what, everywhere I go, someone would wave at me, I would wave back. We would make a 2 minute small talk and say, hey, sorry, got to run, got to go to my class. And then everyone who was observing that interaction, they would think, that's Spear Guy. He's some popular dude, hey?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
always got
yeah.
people talking to him.
It's the best feeling, right?
In reality, I'm really not. I'm just some guy who decided to open his mouth and introduce himself to a bunch of groups. And it
Literally.
just so happens that there are a lot of these groups, and then in uni, we tend to bump into one another. And so that's how it happens. And then because they don't know the actual truth, only you know the truth.
Yeah.
From their perspective, you are a social butterfly. Doesn't matter how emotionally distraught you are on the inside. On the outside, that's what you are. And to them, that is the truth because they don't know any better. You don't give them reason to think that you're some social retard. You give them reason to think you're a social butterfly.
That goes back to the question, do looks matter, guys? Well, yes, they do, but not in the way that you think. Looks matter in the sense that it is your own self look, your own perception of yourself, your self image and self esteem. That's the look that matters the most. It does not matter what you may present yourself as physically on the outside so much as who you are on the inside, because who you are on the inside is a direct reflection on what you see on the outside and what other people will see. So, confidence is the best look that any man can have. Doesn't matter if you're a 5'6", like somewhat chubby, like bald, I don't know, like brown guy, right? Because that for some reason like everyone seems to think that the darker your skin is, the unless you are African, you're just doomed. If you're like Indian or whatever, then like race apparently matters so much. Bro, I've seen with my own eyes guys who fit that description pull hot girls. And it's not because, I mean, look, they don't have it. They don't have the 6'5" giga chad like aesthetic jawline, like 32 inch like biceps look. No, they just,
The nasal,
yeah,
something tilt,
fucking
something
nasal
tilt.
can, yeah, the nasal canvil tilt or whatever the shit black pillars are talking about these days. But it was their inner confidence that spoke like so much more volume than any of the other, like, decent to even relatively good looking dudes could pull off, because they just expected like women to talk to them, or they were too shy. Or classic one is, oh, I'll just wait to find her on Tinder or Bumble or like a dating app. It's like, no, she's here right now, she's present, just go and open your mouth, say hi. You know what the best pickup line is, guys? Hello. Literally, that's what I
Hello,
did. Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah, my name's SK, what's yours? But apparently that's just too much for most people to comprehend. But that comes from a lack of confidence. So,
Mm. And
you know,
everyone should start small. If
start small.
saying hello, my name is blah is too big for you, too much for you, start smaller than that. Smile at someone. You don't have to open your mouth. Wave
Yeah,
to someone. You don't even have to change your facial expression. Just give them a quick head nod. Start
exactly.
small. And then
Start small.
from there, you build up your confidence.
That's it.
That's how I started. That's no joke how I started. When I was just walking to and from uni, I would just think, These strangers on the street, they don't go to uni. I'm never going to see them again, ever. So that means if I do something silly, only they know I do something silly. So what I do, I just started waving to them as I walk by. Just wave them and smile at them. I'm sure a lot of them thought, "What's this retard doing here? Why is he just randomly waving and smiling at me? Has he got a problem? Do I have a problem? Am I looking weird? Maybe they think I'm someone they know." And then that gets into their head. What used to be in your head is now in their head.
Mhm.
People don't realize that everyone has the same, well, not everyone, almost everyone has the same mental struggles. If you think you have some mental struggles, what about everyone else? They probably have the same thing.
Exactly.
The name
I
of this podcast was meant to be "What is self improvement?" But I like how
huh.
this conversation goes. We start off with one idea or one topic, and it just evolves into what we're talking about now.
But I think that's actually very like poignant because that is what self improvement is. It's an evolutionary process. It's a it's a cycle by where you you're constantly working at the foundations of yourself to build to elevate yourself, but you're touching on more than just one aspect. You are all rounded, it's like a full bodied um, process. So you touch on fitness, then you touch on dating, then you touch on mental health, touch on your emotional health, your spiritual well-being. Doesn't mean that you have to go and go and buy a massive statue of Buddha and like sit and pray in front of it like for hours at a time. No, spirituality could be something as simple as going for a walk in the park, reconnecting with nature, and just being with yourself, which is something we don't do
Touching
enough of.
grass.
Literally, go touch grass, man. Literally, just touch grass. You know, it's like such a it's become like a meme at this point because because it's like such a blasé expression, but just by that simple process, just by going and looking at some grass and be like, hey, look, there's something that has life that is beyond just whatever is going on in my own mental battle, right? And
You're using a lot of big $5 words here.
oh, I mean,
Blase,
yeah,
poignant.
blase. It's,
You got a thesaurus on you, bro?
I mean, gotta start this whole podcast off with a bang. Get the people's creative juices flowing and the big thinkers thinking.
Mm,
But that just illustrates my point. It's about taking yourself from being very basic to being like, oh yeah, this is what I do, evolving into something where you can confidently say, yes, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is me, and I am happy with who I am. That
yeah.
that right there shows tremendous growth because I was never. I mean, I had like like basic levels of confidence when I was a kid, but I was never like fully confident. I could never do something like this. We're talking to okay, this is only 75 people listening right now.
Yeah,
Before,
but hundreds more would listen in their own time.
yeah, and it's gonna go online on YouTube after this. So people are going to be listening to this for months, maybe even years to come as we grow.
Yeah. When
Uh,
we're all rich and famous, this
Yeah,
is where we started from.
pretty much. So, bringing it back to what is self improvement. I mean, it's just like it's a way of being, man. That's what I believe. It's a
Mm.
way of being.
It's a never ending process. You're constantly learning what I thought was self improvement just a year ago. Now I've been on this for, let's say, like a decade now. What I thought self improvement was even just a short year ago is different to what I think it is now. It's constantly evolving. It's
That's
kind of
it.
like for example, when I was a kid, so I'm 27 now, so roughly the same age as you. Do you
Yeah.
remember back when we were kids? We didn't have like DVDs and stuff. Like when we were young kids, we had those tapes, and we had to go to the tape shop
Yeah,
to
the
rent
the
those tapes.
oh, Blockbuster, bro. Blockbuster used to bang, man.
And
Mm.
Blockbuster went bust though.
Yes, literally.
So I forget exactly why. Maybe it was for my birthday. Maybe because I did well in a test or something. My dad rented me a Pokemon tape. Right? It's not like now we can just hop onto YouTube or hop onto Google and just search for any episode that you want. No, back then you had to like specifically wait for those tapes to come out, and you had to
Yeah.
reserve them. If you really, really wanted an in-demand tape, you had to reserve it. You had to pay like a reservation fee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we got a
Pre-booking a
Pokemon tape.
video, bro.
I know, right? Imagine doing that in 2022.
You just get laughed at. Like, what do you mean? I have ten sites right here which we can stream it on, bro. Like, why are you pre-booking videos for? But yeah.
Yeah. Imagine booking a Netflix section.
Oh my god.
Anyways, so we ended up renting that. And back then, I was like really, really young. My bedtime was 9 o'clock. That was a hard and fast rule in the
Yep.
household. My bedtime was 9 o'clock. I had to be in
Same.
bed at 9. And I remember my dad making me promise, okay, if you watch this now, like you're not going to have enough time to watch this tonight. You promise you're gonna go to bed at 9 o'clock. So this was like 8:40 or something. I was like, will you be in bed at 9 o'clock? And I said, yeah, 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 I will. But I was lying. I really wanted to finish the episode. So when 9 o'clock rolls around, he's like, okay, I'm shutting it off. And I was like, but, but Ash was about to like beat the bad guy or something. Pikachu was meant to gonna do that crazy thunder thing. And he said, no, you said 9 o'clock. And I remember throwing like this big tantrum because I was really invested in that episode. I didn't even remember half the episode now. I was really invested in that episode. And I was going, when I grow up, when I have kids, I'm going to let
Mm.
them stay up as long as they want.
Oh yeah.
Because in that moment, being like a tiny kid, I really, really thought that. I really, really thought that, you know what? This is the best way to have kids. This is what you should let your kids do. You should let them have as much fun as they want. But now I think, geez, 7-year-old Spear, what a fucking idiot. And I respect my dad for holding me accountable, for
That's
keeping
what it
me
was.
to my word. I promised I would be in bed at 9 o'clock. He'd made sure I got my ass in bed at 9 o'clock or after I threw my tantrum.
Yeah.
So now I can look back and I can respect that with my newfound knowledge. The same way when going through your self improvement journey, when you're initially exposed to some idea, it doesn't matter what idea it is. Maybe it's the idea that being lean is attractive. Maybe it's the idea that big muscles are attractive. Maybe it's the idea that if you dive too deep into the crazy end, oh, you have to have this certain bone structure, otherwise it, it's game over.
Yeah.
Whatever idea you're exposed to, usually you go into it unless it's the second. What I mean by that is if you knew nothing about what counts as attractive and someone comes along and tells you that, hey, you have to have these features and that's attractive, well, you have no reason not to believe him because you have no prior knowledge.
True.
So it's only by living and learning, gaining more experience, can you then take a step back and evaluate, say, okay, I've got all of these experience points. Most of them point me towards this direction. It's quite likely that that is the correct direction.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, I didn't have any direction of so-called accountability and like journaling, meditation, self-improvement. None of these words existed in my vocabulary. It was just go to school, after school, have fun, go to sleep, rinse and repeat. That was it. All right, 7-year-old me, 8-year-old me. I didn't care about self-improvement. I didn't care about getting chicks. I didn't care about any of that. It was just, can I watch more episodes? Can I play more games? And that
Yep.
was it.
That was literally my life too. So instead of Pokemon, it was gaming for me. I was not allowed to play games on the weekdays. My friends were, and I absolutely hated it.
Yeah,
I
mad
was like,
jealous, right? Mad jealous.
oh, bro, I was like, yeah, when I have kids or whenever I move out, I'm gonna play video games every single day, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And my mom would be like, oh, okay, whatever. But for as long as you live under my house, my roof, my house, my
Yeah,
rules,
my
my
roof,
rules.
my rules.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, 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 whatever. And now I'm at the point where it's like, dude, if I even sometimes I even think about playing video games, like, what could I be doing with the same amount of time that's more constructive and productive? Mind you, that doesn't mean that, you know, in the off occasion, and I mean the off occasion, it'll be like 1 or 2 weekends per month where I pick a day where I'll just, yeah, I'll play like realistically like 4 hours of a game or something, because
Mhm.
all the other days I've been pushing and, grinding, working on all the other areas that I'm improving on, which feeds quite nicely into the next question that I want to ask is, at what point does self improvement or the concepts of it become toxic to the point where you're setting impossible goals? Or
It's not self improvement anymore. It's self
no,
detriment, self
that's it.
destruction.
That's it. Self destruction. So I've said this before in like other lectures, but I'm also going to mention it on this on our podcast. That too much of anything is bad, like especially self improvement. So if you're somebody who, let's just say, was like me, I was highly addicted to video games. Okay, you know that's like your vice essentially. That doesn't mean that from that point on you go cold turkey. Some people can, right? Some people can go cold turkey. But if you genuinely actually got a form of enjoyment from saying playing a game or like, I don't know, like watching like binge watching a show on Netflix or something, if you found
You were
like,
about to say watch porn, didn't you?
oh no, but I mean, no, it
When
wasn't
you were
porn.
like
I was
watching, and then you had a
watching.
little pause, I thought you were going to say watching porn.
I was like, oh, pause. We can't now. Actually, no, it wasn't porn. It was going to be anime. But
Mm,
I just thought it's more or less the same thing, right? Like people say, oh, anime is bad, Netflix is bad. Why? Because the return of investment is like basically minimal, right? You just sat there staring at a screen and not getting any sort of form of productivity done. But my point is, life is not all about like 100% of the time being so like meticulously, routinely methodical and productive. That's one thing that I've learned because uh I have like minor OCD. So, you know, this is something that I get like obsessed on. I get obsessed like with self-improvement. I got obsessed with the idea of, right, I need to go to the gym, I need to meditate, I need to journal, I need to make sure I hit my macros, okay. And I'm literally like counting the calories as I'm dishing out my food. And then I'll be thinking, okay, well, now I've done that. Okay, have I, have I meditated again? Have I done my journal for the evening? Have I taken a progress picture? Have I done my skincare routine? Which is great. But when you become so caught up in that, it's very easy to then become blinkered to the outside world. And I
mm.
found that I actually wasn't enjoying life as much. So while I do agree that, yeah, like for example, like playing game, okay, yeah, playing games is bad for you in the sense that if you go to the one extreme where you start to live like vicariously through your character or whatever it is you're doing, and you're just sat there essentially like vegetating and living in this virtual reality. Once you unwind and unplug from that, you come back to your own reality, and it creates almost like this disconnect. It's almost like you've been like unplugged from the matrix and you're just like, oh, so this is what life is like, like classic examples
Mm.
like GTA Online. We just hit a bank with all my boys. We escaped on this crazy speedboat with like the police chasing after us. We got away, and now everyone's living in massive mansions, driving like McLarens and Bugattis and everything. You then switch the game off, you know, roll out of your chair, and you look in the mirror and you're like, why don't I, look like I'm living the baller lifestyle?
Be
You know,
right back. Gonna rob a bank now.
yeah, exactly. Be right back. Gonna go rob a bank right now. And then you realize it's not like it's in the video games. And then you live the rest of your life in prison because you lived this delusional reality. That's a really bad side. But
Mm.
occasionally, if you do it just for like a quick thrill because it's like a Saturday night and I don't know, it's like pissing down with rain, for example, and there's nothing else going on, there's always something you can do, like read. But if you don't want to read, that's also okay. Self improvement becomes toxic when you pressure yourself to work on those same elements, and it then like reinforces this belief system that if you aren't doing one of those tasks, you are failing at life. It's like the it's like the complete opposite of, if you're not a 6'5" like Giga Chad alpha male who's bagging every female you talk to and making like 7 figures living that IG lifestyle, then you're a failure at life.
Mm. Yeah,
What's your
have you
take?
heard of the political horseshoe analogy? That the extreme left and the extreme right are way more similar than they
Yes.
are different.
Yes, I have.
So
Yep.
instead of having like a for our listeners, instead of having a perfectly straight line where you have extreme left and extreme right, it's more of like a horseshoe kind of thing where it's like an arch, like a bent thing, so
There's like a
that the
curve,
two
right?
ends of that line are actually very very close together. Reason I bring that up is kind of like when we were talking about being so focused on, oh, if I have to do all of these things, otherwise I'm a failure, and
Hmm.
uh, the so-called black pill, where if I don't have these characteristics, I'm a failure. I think they're way more related than they're different. Even though one is supposedly black pill and one is supposedly anti-black pill and like fully self-improvement, gotta be on the hustle, on the grind. Both are very destructive mentalities that ultimately don't allow yourself to have any freedom or any joy. It's called life. Life is for living.
Believe it or not.
I'm going to, everyone sit there and think a little bit about that. Life is for living, both now and tomorrow, and a year later, and 10 years later, and if we live that long, 100 years later. That means you have to strike the perfect balance of putting in the hard work now so you can reap the rewards later, and taking some time now to enjoy yourself in the moment. It's like those like really, 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 really frugal people. The people who are like, oh, bro, you got, I can't spend a dollar on coffee. That's an expense. I have to save that dollar. I have to invest it so I can retire early and save even more money. When you get to that point where everything's just like, oh, I'm going to save money. I'm going to save money. I'm going to save money so that I can spend it later. But when is later? Because when later arrives, it's like that saying, tomorrow never comes. Because when it's tomorrow, it's no longer tomorrow. It's now today. And that's how I didn't spend money today. I spend money tomorrow. But you can only spend money today. Is that making sense? You can only spend money today because you're living today. You're not living tomorrow. Like tomorrow hasn't happened yet. So that when tomorrow does become today, it's now today. And your rule is, I can't spend money today. So that you basically end up over investing or overthinking and thinking that, I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to save money. I'm going to get buff. I'm going to meditate for 3 hours. I'm going to journal for 5 hours. I'm going to, all for the sake of having this ideal self tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes because tomorrow will always stay tomorrow. It'll always be in the future. Make sure you have enough for yourself today as well.
Bro, yeah, that was beautifully put. I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself. It's yeah, again, it's there's no, it's like the whole concept of success. Success isn't linear. Life isn't linear either. You can choose to live
Mm,
in a linear lifestyle, sure, but much like living life in a very strict, routine, regimented way, the same way that you will you apply it to your whole self development journey, as opposed to living a flexible life. It's it comes with its pros and cons. So life is all about balance. That's what I'd say. Like me personally, I say I main and I still maintain this statement. I don't drink, right? I don't drink alcohol. But here's the but. On the occasion, and it would like, let's define what an occasion is. So, Christmas, a birthday, a close friend's wedding that I physically attend, or let's say it's been a hard week. My mom and I, we work together in our family business. My mother and I were like, fuck this. Let's go to our favorite restaurant and just have a gin, mom. Okay. That would be the occasion, the occasional drink that I have. Does that mean now that I'm breaking my principle of I don't drink? I don't think so, because I don't drink regularly enough to qualify as drinking. Having the occasional tipple, that's so British. Having the occasional tipple is, you know, the odd, like, I really want to say this analogy. It's like, if you dip your toes in the pond every now and then, it's okay. When you splash out all the time, that's when it becomes a problem, right? So I think, again, it's about balance. So there's certain habits, or rather certain things that shouldn't be habits in the first place, like watching porn, for example, because that's just, there is no good thing about that. It just completely destroys your mind and creates a warped sense of what the male female dynamic looks like, which is like one of the leading reasons why men don't know how to talk to women. But there's got to be a balance. So if you're like on a really hardcore grind to like get your money up, to build a business, you're taking a break from dating, whatever, that's fine. But don't forget that there are people out there who want to be approached, and you could be that person who goes and makes friends or networks, or might just find that you break that whole break from dating spell because you met someone that's just really compatible with you for now. Because I think my last point before we start rounding this off is that self improvement has its own, like, time marks, its own timestamps, and everything is
Checkpoints.
relative. Yeah, checkpoints, exactly. And every checkpoint is relative. So, like you said, right now we are at a stage in our lives personally where we'll work out because we want our bodies to look the best that they ever did. But 20, 30, maybe even like 40 years from now, when we're, going into our twilight years, that may, that's a heavy quotation marks on the that may not appeal to us as much because it's just heavier on the joints. Maybe we've just discovered that we enjoy fishing or playing golf, or, you know,
Or other
do,
old man activities.
yeah, insert generic old man activity.
Standing in front of your lawn and admiring it.
Yeah, right. Talking about like what the latest lawnmowers, like, revolutions per minute can do per blade of
Yeah,
grass. You know what I
lawnmower
mean?
9000.
Yeah, exactly. Some old man shit, like proper old boy shit. But I mean, there's a reason why people are like that, because they've gone through the phases, And I remember, like, when I was younger, I'd see like old men and be like, "Damn, like, you like this shit? Like, really?" And then he'll be like, "Yeah, well, when I was a little whippersnapper like you, I was actually like the baddest kid on the block." And you're like, "Shit, no way." He's like, "Yeah, I was shaking down everyone for that lunch money and like kissing all the girls." And you were like, "Oh, damn, you were a real player." You know, there's stages. I don't know how that analogy just came to be, but I just thought it was just
Right,
perfect.
I already know where you're gonna be in 30 years.
Yeah, maybe that's like a self projection. That was like a heavy SK projection there, but that essentially, that essentially proves my point. There's a time and a place and a time, and with self improvement, the whole process of the journey is exactly that. It's a process. So enjoy
Mm.
each moment as it presently is coming to you. You know, enjoy the struggle also. I think that would be my piece of advice. What would your advice to anybody who's starting their journey be?
I want to put a caveat out there because
Okay.
you and I we're the same or similar ages, and
Mm,
we've been on this journey for quite some time.
yeah.
And so, for all of our younger viewers and listeners, they might be thinking, "Oh, maybe it's okay to take a break." Or, you know what? I'll play video games today because Beer said it's fine. Have a bit of a balance. SK said, "Oh, I'll drink a little bit because it's an occasion, and today's an
Right.
occasion because I said it was." You have to
Ah,
be honest, like brutally honest with yourself. Only you can do that. No one can do that for you.
true.
Is it really an occasion that's worth celebrating? Is it really have you really deserved the 1 hour or the 2 hours they're going to play video games or watch anime or whatever? Have you deserved it? Or are you just lying to yourself saying, "Oh, I did something today. I deserved it." Only you, as in the person listening and the person evaluating, only you can decide that. So, for the younger people who are just starting out, go balls out, go balls to the wall. You haven't hit any point of burnout yet. You're not even close to burning out at the start. You have a full tank of gas or petrol or whatever you guys call it. You can go all out. You don't need to refuel at all because you have a full fuel of tank. It's only once you start hitting some ruts that you can take a step back, zoom out, see the forest for the trees, and reevaluate. At the start, I mean, everyone goes at their own pace. Some people are really ambitious and hungry and they go all out. Some people, they're less ambitious and they don't go all out. Both are fine as long as you honestly evaluate your current situation and you don't hide behind excuses and you don't just try to protect your fragile ego.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's what this journey is. It's a journey. There are different check marks, checkpoints along that journey. Me and SK, we've come along a compared to the rest of our audience, we've come along a fair way. We are far from reaching the end of this journey, right?
Mm.
We're only in our 20s. If we say that we are peak self improvement, then that would just be a lying to ourselves, and we would be cocky pieces of shit. We're not. Well, I hope we're not. Maybe we are, and we're just lying
Just
to ourselves and projecting we're not.
yeah, it's just a heavy cope right now.
Yeah, just coping, bro. Copium. Gotta get all that copium.
But yeah, perfect. I mean, what are your closing statements? What would you say, Spear, in closing?
Closing statements is there is no one singular closing statement. You have to everything in moderation, right? Even too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Someone
Mm,
shoving their self improvement down your throat, too much of that is going to make you choke and vomit. Everything in moderation, and that includes, and this is why I'm such a massive advocate for mental health and mindsets, because without the right mentality, without the right mindset, without a healthy balance in the mind, people end up like you said, getting way too deep into self-improvement and they feel bad if they don't meditate for 5 hours a day, journal for 6 pages a day. It's okay if you skip a day here and there. It's okay if you don't journal every day. As long as you're honest with yourself and as long as you're still making progress. I know this is like such a cliche, right? But when it comes to self-improvement, it's self-improvement. It's not compare yourself to others' improvement. As long as you're a stronger version of yourself today than you were yesterday, and I'm saying this metaphorically, it's not literally today and 24 hours ago. As long as you're making progress along the way, it's okay to take it slow. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes you do have to take that step back when you burn yourself out, when you're too focused on one single aspect. You end up losing sleep, you end up losing focus, your mind is a mess. It's in shambles. That's no good. That's not beneficial to self improvement at all. You need to start from a solid foundation, start from a healthy place, a healthy mindset. And from there, the world is your oyster. That's it from me today. Enjoy.
perfect. I mean, you heard the man, boys. That's the first episode of our podcast. So to look forward to, just quickly while we're here, we will discuss the motivation topic. How do we sort of deal with the lack of motivation? Happy for that, Spear?
Mm.
Perfect.
Yeah, and anything, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll title it "How to Deal with Lack of Motivation," but I'm sure we'll end up going off on a massive tangent talking about all the
Yeah.
other bullshit.
We will go off on the deep end, but I mean, we'll kick it off on that. We'll start it off on that. And just to give you guys a little bit of an insight, this podcast will we will add an episode to the podcast around this time every Saturday. So 10 p.m. my time, which is like UK GMT for all us UK peeps, which is what 7 a.m. for you, Spear.
Let's bump it up a little bit because let's make a. Can we push back 15, 30 minutes later, or is that too
Yeah,
late
oh,
for you?
yeah, no, that's fine. 10, yeah, 10:30, so half 7 for you.
Yeah, because
Sure.
it's stupid time zones, man. Like,
Yeah, I
okay.
know.
So for our audience, last week before daylight savings screwed everything up, this was my 9 a.m. and SK's 10 p.m.
Correct.
And because of time zones and how funny they are, now this podcast is still SK's 10 p.m. because I'm such a nice guy, but it's my 7 a.m. I thought it was supposed to be my 8 a.m. And it's only because my phone buzzed me awake. And I was just like, yes, I'm not perfect. I check my phone in the mornings. Hamza's gonna kill me for this. No, he's not. Who cares? I didn't care. I checked my phone. It was like, oh, what the hell is waking me up at this ungodly hour at 5 a.m.? I checked my phone. It was a ghost notification of some sort. I don't know. I don't know what popped up. I'm so glad that it did wake me up though, because it's actually 7 a.m. in my time rather than 8 a.m. Otherwise, I would be an hour late.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. They just need to abolish daylight savings. But
Nah,
okay, yeah.
daylight saving, there's a time and a place for that. But the switch is always painful. It's always getting headaches.
Yes, daylight savings also has its own self-improvement cycle, it would seem. But yeah, okay. So between the hours of like say 10 and 11 p.m. my time, then yeah,
Mm,
that's okay. That's good. So between that, every Saturday we'll be uploading
Sunday for
an
me,
episode. Correct. It'll be early Sunday morning uh for Spear.
for some people. Yeah.
And for anyone that's in Australia, if it's EST, you guys are 5 hours. So it'll be like 6 p.m. So five or 6 p.m. EST if you're on the East Coast. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, and I will be putting this episode up momentarily. It'll be on my YouTube link. So that's SK_levels. Spear, do you wanna like plug any plugs that you have worth plugging?
Butt plugs.
Yeah, buy Spear's
Yeah,
butt
Spears
plugs.
butt plugs.
Only used once, so you know you've got some true authenticity there. But yeah, I mean, you on Instagram, Spear? Get these
No, no
guys.
Insta.
Okay, he's
Just a YouTube channel. Spear
he's
QA.
he's not a full degen. I'm a bit degenerate. I like to stare at baddies on Instagram. So if you guys want to connect with me, you can follow me at sk.allopi. That's my last name. So sk.allopi, that's me. Follow me on Instagram. Chat to me, connect with me. If you guys are interested in one-to-one coaching, you can message me there. Also, I've got like a new template on my YouTube channel, so check that out when you guys go there to watch this podcast or any other videos. And yeah, enjoy, guys, enjoy. We will see you in the next one. SK out.
Yep, that's it. That's it from us today. Enjoy your days. We're done.